Hi guys, welcome to Lily, Romy, and Ella's Scoop. So without further ado, let's get started. About 100 years ago, the world population was about 2 billion. However, guess what? So far, it is approximately 4 times larger. And the global population is also expected to keep increasing in the next 30 years. So what if we'll be running out of food to eat, or in other words, any food shortages occur? Well, very unfortunately, the food prices will be indeed pushed up in the near future due to the fact that a growing world population exceeds growing capacity. Since the access to meat becomes more limited, could there be any alternatives for those meat lovers and all human beings? The answer is absolutely yes. A new type of artificial meat called plant-based meat has been introduced. So have you ever heard of plant-based meat? Do you think it tastes as good as the real meat, and do you suppose it is healthy? Bear these questions in mind and I will introduce you right away. Well, basically, plant-based meat is a type of man-made meat in which is manufactured through a series of processes from mainly soybeans, peas, mung beans, or other legumes, and in addition, a range of supplements in order to make it, whether in its taste, appearance, or nutritional value, as similar as possible to real meat or even better than real meat. It is to be developed as an alternative for real meat and a hope for solving numerous issues worldwide in the not-so-far future. So today we are going to zoom in several impacts of plant-based meat on diet health, economy, environment, and cultures.
So by listening to what we just mentioned, you may think that plant-based meat is just suitable for vegetarians. Because it is man-made, it is unnatural, hence equals to the unhealthy junk food which lacks the essential nutrients that the body craves for. That is partially true, though plant-based meat have lots of health benefits. For example, vitamin C and magnesium requirements are much more readily fulfilled in plant-based meat than the conventional ones. Moreover, eating plant-based meat can lower the cholesterol level. Phytosterol in soybeans can block the absorption of cholesterol, lowering the concentration of cholesterol in blood. As a result, it prevents cardiovascular disease and heart attack. What's more, the content of linoleic acid in soybean is abundant, which can promote the growth and development of nervous system and the brain. Lastly, for people who suffer from constipation, plant-based meat can promote the peristalsis of rectum and prevent constipation by increasing the amount of feces that removed. Aside from health benefits, there are also some economic impacts once people switch on to plant-based meat. Indeed, the vast surplus of meat and dairy products for producing them would have caused the inefficiency of resources in the society. Studies have also shown that some Western countries have reduced GDP in livestock. However, this should not be a problem because this will be offset by the flourishing growth in other plant-based markets. It is said that producing such an alternative would make a huge profit. More specifically, with a surge of 20% in growth, it will produce $700 million in sales in the USA. In fact, governments could save a great deal of money from production cost while producing meats to other aspects, like infrastructure and healthcare, thereby creating a better place for people to live. More importantly, eating plant-based meats has tons of benefits on the environment. Given the fact that human beings are omnivores, we have huge carbon footprints based on the greenhouse gases that we released, including carbon dioxide and methane as the majority, made by the normal metabolism and excretion of the body. Certain animals which we are very familiar with, such as cows, release large amount of methane when they fart or get slaughtered. The methane that accumulates by the rumination are released, causing the greenhouse gases to emit. Simultaneously, livestock agriculture uptakes 77% of all agricultural land on Earth, despite only supplying 17% of the world's food supply. This inefficiency drives the need of more agricultural land and further deforestation occurring as a result, leaving more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, causing global warming, also contributes to soil erosion. In contrast, plants can do photosynthesis to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen while they grow. Thus, lower meat consumption results in a lower carbon footprint compared to a similar omnivore diet. The sewage treatment system also accounts for the emission of greenhouse gas methane. Production of livestock have been using 1/3 of the fresh water on Earth, and the water returned to the ecosystem are all in the form of manure, slurry, and wastewater. If you are to let the contaminated water just stay in the river without treating it, even the groundwater might be contaminated in time. If you are to carry out series of treatments, methane is going to be produced by this system throughout a series of chemical reactions. So that's actually between a rock and a hard place. On the other hand, plant agriculture would be a better choice. Although eutrophication caused by misuse of fertilizers also pollutes the water, we still need to process the water before drinking.
Particular groups are also benefited from increased consumption of plant-based meat. For example, religionists who are restricted to eat meat can eat plant-based meat as a type of snack. Vegetarians similarly can eat those in order to get extra nutrients apart from vegetables and fruits, since supplements which are not contained in natural meat are added. It can be a savior for obese people and people with certain diseases too. For example, to those who suffered from cardiovascular diseases, as it contains much less fat and cholesterol than real meat. And we've also carried out a survey about the social acceptance and knowledge on plant-based meat locally in Tianjin in northern China via online questionnaire made with www.wenjuan.com on WeChat. Finding out that among the people who completed the questionnaire, 90% of them had heard of plant-based meat, and 33% of them had tried plant-based meat before. And the majority of the questioned people agreed that plant-based meat could be an alternative to meat for them, and they will consume plant-based meat if meat shortage is to occur in the future.
Then here comes the question, why some still choose to eat meat if plant-based meat is such an excellent and perfect alternative just as what we said? Well, one of the reasons is that many of us tend to believe that meat was the key to human evolution in history, and hence it's indispensable from human culture. And it's actually buttressed by researches carried out by scientists, tracing back to 2.6 million years ago, finding out that when hominids started to eat meat and marrow, their body size are increased. And this is without affecting their mobility, agility, and sociality. And more scientifically, based on our technology today, although scientists are able to invent plant-based meat which is so similar to real meat, there are still disadvantages of plant-based meat in comparison to real meat. That is the lack of vitamin B12, which is also called cobalamin. For an individual, a low level of vitamin B12 can cause hair loss, poor memory, and dementia if the case is too severe. So it is still essential to intake some dairy products and eggs or even meat and vitamin pills as supplements to avoid B12 deficiency if one is to switch to a major plant-based meat diet. What's more is that going vegan globally will force particular cultures and traditions of various regions to vanish. Certain tribes and communities in the past and nowadays own their cultures and traditions. For example, the Dayak tribe of northwest Borneo avoid being vegetarians because they fear that eating vegetables only will make them timid like deers. So vegetables are not a symbol of power and strength in their eyes. Ancient Egypt kings eat bull god Apis in order to gain the strength and fierceness of the animal. The Norse and Japanese hunt dolphins and eat dolphin meat as a culture. Well, you just cannot alternate these traditions and beliefs in just a few months or years, and the people of that culture probably won't give in either. Many of the messages that meat carries in literature works will be changed too if everyone is to follow a vegetarian lifestyle. For example, you say beef up your muscles in a gym rather than being up your muscles in a gym in English, And when you see a skinny guy walking down the street, you describe him as a bean sprout in Chinese to exaggerate the look of the guy instead of depicting them as anything associated with meat in daily life. And in many literature works, meat is a symbol of power and social status according to the history of the work's background. So if you are a noble or are living in a higher hierarchy than the noble class, whether in a Western or Eastern society, you are to have the right to eat meat and all kinds of animal food. In contrast, if you are a peasant, you might not be able to eat meat, but bread and grains for the best. Thus, in the case of living a vegan lifestyle and eating plant-based meat as a major diet, these diverse aspects in our languages are to expire as time passes, in which may create confusion over daily communication between generations, for example, between you and your boss or between you and your teacher. And also this may create confusion over the message the author is trying to tell as we live through these literature works written before decades.
But overall, plant-based meat is indeed quite healthy compared to meat, and consuming plant-based meat can solve certain environmental problems we are facing right now, including global warming, water pollution, boost of population, and the shortage of food. Therefore, give it a shot. It may not as bad as you thought it would be. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching.